from God's country at the gateway to the Ozarks in Fairfield Bay, Arkansas. This is the Fairfield Bay Gadfly coming to you from the Flytrap Studio with the Fairfield Bay Gadfly Presents. Today, we will look at this day in history, uncover what is going on in the world, and reflect on how such happenings affect all of us. Now, this day in history. On April 25th, 1961, the Fairchild Semiconductor Corporation released the first commercially available integrated circuits. So, Gadfly, why is this important? Because all of these separate little bitty transistors and resistors and capacitors and all the connecting wiring could be placed in one single little crystal or chip in order to miniaturize computers, to include the cell phone you're using right now. Remember, bigger is not always better. Also remember, Moses was way ahead of technology in that he had the first tablet that could connect to the cloud. Okay, let's get into international. Ukrainian President Zelensky has met with U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blynken and Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin in order to design a weapons agreement. It always bothers me when the media reports on Secretary of State Blynken. It takes me to the children's poem, Wynken, Blynken and Nod. Obviously, we know who Blynken is. By the same token, there's no question that Slow Joe is Nod. The only other question is, who is Wynken? According to the poem, both winking and blinking are allegories for eyes. Which begs the question, is winking an allusion to the mainstream media? Think about it. Don't you think they merely wink at Slow Joe's gaffes and goofs? Also, Slow Joe definitely nods off a lot. Now, Vlad the Impaler Putin's forces have renewed their direct attack on the steel plant in Mauripol, where a couple of thousand Ukrainian defenders and civilians are holed up. Russia continues its attack on Ukraine citizens. The genocide continues. Yet Russia is still allowed a seat on the G20 and associated membership with the International Monetary Fund and the World Bank. What have I been saying for weeks? Russia must be cut off from the rest of the economic world. Just last week, Russia blocked the International Monetary Fund's Key Advisory Committee from issuing a communique condemning the Ukrainian invasion. Europe continues to slut itself to Russia for their oil and gas needs. Other Asian and Middle East countries outright support Russia in any effort they attempt. The invasion of a sovereign nation will continue until the rest of the world is willing to admit that genocide in any form or any place must not be supported in any form or fashion. Now, on to the national. The U.S. Supreme Court has agreed to hear a case out of Bremerton, Washington, where a former assistant football coach would go to the center of the field, 50-yard line, after games and have a silent prayer with some of his players who wished to participate. Apparently, the school board didn't like it and told him to stop. He resigned and sued unsuccessfully in lower courts. Reports say the majority of the community supports the coach. Previous SCOTUS rulings have favored a quote-unquote no prayer approach, but that was related to public prayers said out loud in a school setting. This case differs from the previous case law in that these are private, unspoken prayers, and it goes to whether or not public employees give up their rights to free speech and religion free exercise of the religion at the workplace. It should be an interesting decision. Our prayers go out to the family of Texas National Guard Specialist Bishop Evans, age 22, who, while on National Guard training, jumped into the Rio Grande River to attempt to save 2 illegal aliens from drowning, and ended up drowning himself. The illegals survived and were taken into custody. As long as the federal government continues to allow uncontrolled border crossings by illegal aliens, good men and women who are citizens, and in Specialist Evans' case, service members, will continue to pay horrible and sometimes deadly prices for government inaction. Now, we go back to the wonderful state of Washington for another breaking story. Dateline, Brennan, Washington. Firefighters rescued a woman from an outhouse hole after she fell headfirst into the hole while trying to recover her cell phone that had fallen into the toilet. Whoa! Think about that one. I mean, was she planning to use the phone after that? On the upside, if there is or was one, if she already had blue hair, she got a free recoloring. If not, it's blue now. Oh wait, I can't let this go. Particularly now that we're hitting spring and we have to look back and remember winter and everything else. Here's one I found. What do a missile silo and an Alaskan outhouse have in common? They both contain ICBMs. I know. Don't quit my day job. Okay, on the state level. Really, Asa, really? The Arkansas Governor, Asa Hutchinson, is headed to New Hampshire, if he's not already there, to make his case to the Yankee voters that he might be a good option for President of the United States in 2024. Hutchinson will be speaking at a New Hampshire political event held by the New England Council. Hutchinson tells Fox News that he will be traveling to several different states over the course of the next 3 to 4 months. Of course, Arkansas taxpayers will not be paying for the trips, but his national platform organization will cover some trips. Huh? I didn't know Asa had a national platform organization. Other than the insistent pandering he has done for the press during the recent flu years, the thought of him being the commander-in-chief is not a pretty picture. He is a career politician who says or does what he needs to do in order to get elected. I don't care if he is from Arkansas. He does not express Arkansas values. Now, locally, the Fairfield Bay City Council held their April workshop today, and some very interesting facts came out. The absolute pinnacle of events for Fairfield Bay this year, and probably most years prior, will be the Moonshine and Music Festival in November. And apparently there is an anonymous donor who has pledged to donate an extremely beneficial amount of money to the city. I wasn't sure how much it was until Councilman Don Bailey, who was looking at a document that I couldn't see because I was watching it online, stated the amount was $225,000. It's significant enough that the city is establishing a separate event account. Assuming the weather and other factors shine on Fairfield Bay that weekend, it will be an event to not be missed. You gotta be there, kids. The mayor did note that not much was happening with the relocation of the Dollar General store. However, she did indicate that she was told unofficially that the groundbreaking would be in November of this year, which probably means the annexation troll is hiding under a nearby bridge, waiting to make his appearance. There were several other items of general interest that will be reported on later. The Fairfield Bay Community Club Board will have their April meeting in the Fireside Room at the Little Red Restaurant at 9:30 a.m. on Wednesday, April 27th. The board will have their double secret meeting at 7:30 a.m., followed by a regular pre-meeting at 8:30 a.m., with the public meeting for the peasants at 9:30 a.m. The star of the meeting will be non-CPA bookkeeper Mike Penrod, who is charged with answering any and all financial questions members might have. I encourage each of you to consider attending and asking questions about the overall spending, the 5-year plan, normal operating expenses, etc., of the club. Please do not miss this opportunity to ask hard questions. Finally, local elections for both the club board and the city council are coming up soon. Learn about the candidates and decide for yourself what direction you want our club going for the next 2 to 3 years. Elections have consequences. I'll leave you with today's words of wisdom on how the gadfly has lost so much weight. I just burned 2,000 calories. That's the last time I leave brownies in the oven while I nap. Thanks to each and every one of you for tuning in today. This is the Fairfield Bay Gadfly bringing you truth from above and signing off for now.